Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into virtual vacations.
Ooh, virtual vacations.
Yeah, so that idea of like exploring all these far off places, but without even like leaving your couch.
Right.
Exactly. So we've got this YouTube video transcript that really kind of paints a picture of like what's possible now with virtual vacations.
Okay.
And then we also have a couple of practice tests that were like related to the content in the YouTube video.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it really got me thinking about, the implications of virtual travel and like how it kind of stacks up against real travel.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So like picture this, you're like totally itching for adventure,
Right.
but your budget's like super tight and your
Yeah.
passport's expired.
Oh,
So like what do? You can't exactly hop on a plane,
right.
but that's where virtual travel comes in.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Right. It's like this whole new way to experience the world.
I'm intrigued.
So the YouTube video actually describes a virtual holiday as a way to like experience these destinations through tools like interactive maps and like 360-degree videos and even online tours.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but when I first heard about virtual travel, I kind of just pictured like, watching videos of pretty places.
Yeah, I get that.
But this YouTube video highlighted like a crazy range of experiences that you can have virtually.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like they were talking about everything from, strolling through the streets of Venice to like scaling the Eiffel Tower.
Wow.
Yeah. And even like soaring over the Grand Canyon. And then like on the other side of the world, you could be exploring like the bustling night markets of Bangkok.
That's pretty cool.
I know, right? And it even gets more adventurous than that. Like you can virtually hover above the Himalayas or zoom in on like tiny sun-drenched islands.
So it's not just like famous landmarks, it's like all these different types of places.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the whole world is at your fingertips.
I'm really noticing how they use a lot of evocative language in this video.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
They're talking about sunbathing on these virtual beaches and smelling the sea.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that too. It's like they're really trying to engage all of our senses,
Yes.
even if we're, just sitting at home.
Right. It's like they're going beyond just the visual and trying to make it feel like you're actually there.
Exactly. And it's not just about passive viewing either.
What do you mean?
So they were talking about these virtual tours of places like Yellowstone National Park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you can like watch geysers erupt and, see the sulfur lakes bubbling. And you can even like virtually hike some of the trails.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
One of the test questions we have actually focuses on the benefits of these virtual national park tours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it really emphasizes how they can give people access to places that they might not be able to experience otherwise.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have mobility issues or if you can't afford to travel or even if you just don't have the time, you can still kind of get a taste of these incredible natural wonders.
Exactly. And they even talk about virtually diving with sharks and exploring coral reefs and shipwrecks with like National Geographic.
Wow. So you can go from the mountains to the ocean all in like the span of a few clicks.
Pretty much. And they also touch on exploring museums and landmarks virtually.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, they mention like wandering through the British Museum and like examining artifacts like the Rosetta Stone.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to see all that history and culture without even leaving your house.
Right. It's incredible. And then they talk about exploring the Taj Mahal from every angle and like even virtually scaling heights that you couldn't access in real life.
Oh, wow. That's really bringing that quote to life. The world is your oyster.
Totally. It's like
Yeah.
opening up a whole new realm of possibilities.
But then, of course, they do acknowledge that, virtual travel, it's not exactly the same as actually being there.
Right, of course. It's
Yeah.
not a perfect replacement.
Yeah, like they say, you can't really experience the weather or the food or the culture in the same way virtually.
Yeah, one of the practice tests actually dives into those limitations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it emphasizes that in a virtual setting, you can't physically interact with the environment.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like you can't feel cobblestones under your feet or, smell the flowers in a garden.
Right. And you also can't have those like spontaneous interactions with locals that often make real travel so special.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like those unexpected encounters and conversations are such a big part of the travel experience.
Exactly. So as the YouTube video suggests, it's really important to view virtual travel as a complement to real world experiences.
I see it as like a taste test for the world,
Yeah.
like a way to sample different destinations before you commit to a full-blown adventure.
I love that analogy. And speaking of adventures, the video and the practice tests both highlight one of the biggest advantages of virtual travel,
Okay, what's that?
the budget factor.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You don't need expensive plane tickets or hotel reservations or even a passport.
That's huge, especially for people who are, budget conscious or just starting to explore the world.
Absolutely. It makes travel much more accessible.
It's like a game changer for so many people.
And that accessibility is a key theme that emerges from all of our sources. Virtual travel has the potential to democratize the travel experience, making it available to a much wider audience.
That's a really powerful thought.
It is. It's like breaking down barriers and opening up the world to everyone.
So we've got this budget-friendly, passport-free way to experience the world, but it's not without its limitations.
Right. It's like a trade-off.
Exactly. But even with those limitations, I'm still really fascinated by the potential of virtual travel. Where it's headed and how it might change the way we think about exploring the world.
Yeah, me too. It's a really exciting and rapidly evolving field.
And that's exactly what we're going to be diving into next.
Oh, this is going to be good. And it's not even just about the affordability. You know what I think is really exciting is how virtual travel could push the boundaries of what we even consider travel.
Okay, now we're talking futuristic stuff. I mean, the YouTube video hinted at some of these advancements like VR and AR.
Exactly. VR especially has so much potential to create these super immersive travel experiences.
Yeah, imagine putting on a headset and suddenly you're standing in the middle of the Coliseum.
Right. Or walking along a beach in Bali.
Wow. It'd be like stepping into another world.
It would.
But how does VR even work?
Yeah.
What makes it feel so real?
Well, it's all about creating a sense of presence. Yeah, VR headsets use a combination of screens and lenses and sensors to track your head movements, and then they create this 3D environment that responds to your perspective.
Oh, okay, I see.
And the key is to basically trick your brain into thinking that you're actually in that virtual space.
That's so cool. And the video mentions some pretty amazing potential applications for VR in travel.
Yeah. Like what?
Like touring a hotel before you book, or even experiencing a cruise ship from the comfort of your own home.
Absolutely. And imagine the possibilities for education. Students could take virtual field trips to ancient ruins, or, people could experience different cultures through these immersive simulations.
That would be incredible.
Right. And then the practice tests also touch on augmented reality.
Yeah. AR. How does that fit into the virtual travel thing?
Well, VR tries to fully immerse you in a virtual world, right? AR is more about enhancing your real world experiences with digital overlays.
Okay, so it's adding a layer of information on top of what you're already seeing.
Yeah, exactly. It's having interactive information superimposed on your surroundings.
So instead of just seeing the Eiffel Tower, I could use AR to get historical facts or nearby restaurant recommendations or even translations of signs.
You got it. AR could make real-world travel so much more informative and engaging.
I could see that. Imagine walking through a city and having your smartphone or AR glasses point out all these hidden gems or historical landmarks that you might have missed otherwise.
Exactly. It'd be like having a personalized tour guide in your pocket.
That sounds amazing.
And the applications for AR in travel are constantly evolving. We're seeing companies develop AR apps that can translate menus in real time or, give you walking directions and even recreate historical events right before your eyes.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is. It's the lines between the physical and the digital are getting blurrier and blurrier.
It really seems that way.
Yeah.
But with all this innovation, are there any downsides we should be thinking about?
That's a really important question. While all the possibilities are exciting, it's also important to be aware of the potential pitfalls.
Like what?
Well, some people worry that virtual travel could lead to social isolation.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
If people get too immersed in these digital experiences and they start neglecting real-world interactions.
It's like anything else, moderation is key.
Right. We need to use these technologies in a way that enhances our lives without disconnecting us from the real world.
For sure. And what about the environment? Isn't there an impact there too?
Yeah. That's a great point. Even though virtual travel seems like a more sustainable option than flying, it still takes energy to power all those servers and devices.
So we can't just assume that it's automatically a greener option.
Exactly. We have to think about the carbon footprint of these technologies and make sure that they're developed and used responsibly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about the impact on local communities?
Oh, that's a big one. While virtual tourism could spark interest and inspire people to actually visit a destination, it could also lead to a decline in physical tourism.
And that could hurt those communities that rely on visitors.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex issue with both potential benefits and drawbacks that we need to carefully consider.
So it's not a simple black and white situation.
Nope. It's about having these open conversations, considering different perspectives, and like really striving to use these technologies in a way that benefits both people and the planet.
It sounds like the future of virtual travel really depends on the choices we make about how we develop and use these technologies.
Absolutely. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about our intentions and how we integrate these tools into our lives.
This makes me wonder, like, what does the future even hold for virtual travel? You know, what can we expect to see in the coming years?
Well, if we look at the current trends, it seems like virtual travel is only going to get more and more immersive and accessible.
And, I mean, our research uncovered some seriously mind-blowing advancements that are in the works.
Oh, yeah. For example, we're seeing some exciting developments in haptics.
Haptics.
Yeah. That's technology that can simulate the sense of touch.
Oh, wow.
And then there's olfactory technology, which can recreate smells.
Hold on. So you're saying that someday I could actually feel the sand between my toes on a virtual beach or like smell the spices in a Moroccan market?
That's the idea. Imagine creating these truly multi-sensory travel experiences.
That would be insane. It sounds like the line between real and virtual is going to get even blurrier.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that brings up some really interesting philosophical questions, you know?
Like what?
Well, if virtual experiences become like indistinguishable from real-world experiences, how will that change how we see travel? Will we still value physical travel in the same way?
Those are some deep questions.
They are. And they're questions that we'll probably be grappling with more and more as technology keeps evolving.
This is all pretty mind-boggling to think about. I know, it's crazy, right? Like a few years ago, this all seems like sci-fi, and now we're talking about feeling sand on a virtual beach.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast technology changes. And it's not just about the hardware and software either. It's about us learning more about the brain and how we can create experiences that like really connect with our senses and emotions.
And speaking of connecting with our emotions, that YouTube video we started with really emphasized the power of virtual travel.
Yeah.
You know, like making you feel that wonder and excitement.
Yeah, it's about capturing that sense of awe and discovery that you get from exploring a new place in real life.
Right. I feel like they did a good job of that in the video.
Yeah, they did. But we also talked about the downsides, too.
Yeah.
Like the concerns about social isolation and, you know, the environmental impact and the possible effects on communities that depend on tourism.
Right. We can't just ignore those things.
Definitely. We need to acknowledge those concerns and be responsible with these advancements.
Yeah, it's not about just blindly embracing every new technology.
It's about talking about it, you know, considering the consequences and trying to make good choices.
It feels like we're at a crossroads. We have this awesome technology that could change how we see the world. But we also need to use it wisely.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. And I think that's the main thing we've learned from our deep dive today.
Yeah.
Virtual travel is a powerful tool.
Definitely.
But it can be used in good ways or bad ways. It's our choice how we develop it and make sure it benefits everyone.
So what does that even look like? Like, how can we make sure virtual travel is a force for good?
Well, we can start by supporting companies and developers who are thinking about ethics and sustainability in their work. We can also be aware of how much we're using it, you know, making conscious choices about how it fits into our lives.
And I think it's important to remember that it's not supposed to replace real travel.
I agree.
It's more like a way to learn more about the world or to inspire us to actually go out and explore more.
Exactly. Yeah. Finding a balance, you know, embrace the new stuff, but don't forget about the real world.
So to our listener out there, we want to leave you with this thought. How do you see virtual travel fitting into your own life? Is it for learning? Is it for fun? Is it a way to connect with people far away?
It could be all of those things.
Whatever it is for you, one thing is for sure. The way we travel is changing, and virtual experiences are becoming a bigger and bigger part of that.
It's an exciting time to be exploring these new possibilities.
For sure. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into virtual vacations.
This was fun.
Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep that sense of wonder alive.